People often think that new tools only make life easier, you know. That is a simple truth, but it is not the whole truth. Tools do much more than this. They change the very fabric of how people live. They reshape how people work, how they connect with one another, how they organize their towns, cities, and nations. This is a story that has unfolded over thousands of years, a grand narrative of human adaptation. We can see this pattern clearly when we look at four major eras of change. Each new era, sparked by a new way of doing things, brought with it entirely new social customs, new economic systems, new technological foundations. The core message is simple but profound. Technology is never just about the technology itself. A new tool is like a stone dropped into a still pond. The splash is the immediate effect, the easier task. But the ripples that spread outward are the real story. These ripples change everything they touch. They alter our relationships, our values, our sense of place in the world. They redefine what it means to be a family, a worker, a citizen. Understanding this pattern is not just an academic exercise. It is the key to navigating the rapid changes we face today and the even greater ones that are coming tomorrow. To truly grasp our present and to wisely build our future, we must look to the past. Nomad spear farmers plow. Visual, birth of civilization as we know it. Craftsman's hammer factory's steam engine. Visual, beginning of the modern urban world. Each leap forward in our ability to manipulate the world around us has been mirrored by a leap in how we organize ourselves within it. This is the constant dance between human ingenuity and human society. So, as we stand on the cusp of an era defined by artificial intelligence, a very long time ago, a monumental shift occurred in the human story. People slowly moved away from a life of hunting and gathering to a life of farming. This was not a quick or easy transition, but its consequences were total. For the first time, people began to stay in one place for long periods. This led to the formation of permanent villages, towns, and then cities. The social model was completely rewritten. Families became tied to a specific piece of land, passing it down through generations. New social hierarchies began to form. Some people were farmers, others became priests, soldiers, rulers. This new way of living created a new kind of economy. Farming produced a surplus of food. With extra grain stored away, people could trade. One person's excess wheat, another's pottery, or tools. This was the beginning of organized trade and markets. The rhythm of work also changed, becoming dictated by the seasons. Life was organized around the cycles of planting, growing, and harvesting. Long-term planning became essential for survival. Communities had to decide how to manage shared resources like water for irrigation and land for grazing. The concept of private property, especially land, became central to wealth and power. The next great wave of change was powered by fire and steam. The Industrial Revolution brought machines into the heart of production, and with them, the factory. This new force pulled people from the countryside like a great magnet. Millions left their farms and ancestral villages to seek work in rapidly growing cities. This migration shattered the old social order. A new social class, the urban working class, was born. People's lives were now defined not by their land, but by their job in a factory. The home and the workplace, once the same, became separate spheres. Life was no longer governed by the sun and seasons, but by the factory whistle and the clock. The economy underwent an equally radical transformation, giving rise to industrial capitalism. In this new system, a small group of people owned the factories, the machines, and the materials, the means of production. The vast majority of people owned only their ability to work, which they sold for a wage. This created a new dynamic between owners and laborers. The scale of trade exploded, with factory-made goods being shipped across the world on steam-powered trains and ships. Money banks and complex financial systems became ever more important. Wealth was no longer measured just in land, but in capital. Technology in the industrial era was about mechanization. In our own lifetimes, we have been living through another profound transformation, the information age. The primary resource is no longer land or machines, but information itself. Many people today work not with their hands, but with their minds. They are knowledge workers creating, processing, distributing information. This has given rise to new social roles, new ways of living. We have software developers, data analysts, digital marketers. The rise of remote work has begun to dissolve the rigid separation between home and office. Our social connections have migrated online, digital networks, social media platforms, shaping our identities, opinions, relationships. We are now entering a new chapter, which some call the post-information era, or intelligence era. The defining feature of this next stage is not just access to information, but the active participation of advanced artificial intelligence in our lives. People will increasingly collaborate with smart systems that can learn, reason, and create. This will blend our physical and digital lives into a seamless, hybrid reality. New social structures will emerge. The line between consumer and producer may blur completely, creating prosumers who actively co-create the products and services they use, guided by AI tools. Human-machine teaming will become the standard way of working in many fields. The economy is also poised for fundamental change. We may see the rise of new organizational forms, such as decentralized autonomous organizations, run by rules encoded on a blockchain rather than by human managers. New economic models based on digital tokens and microtransactions could create different ways of valuing contributions. Crucially, concepts like sustainability and digital ethics will move from the fringe to the center of economic thought. As AI makes more decisions, society will have to grapple with profound questions about fairness, bias, and control. The very definition of work and value may need to be re-evaluated in a world of high automation. The technology of this future era will be transformative.